Did you get taxed on any of the scholarships? Did it
Oh
create any
my God, how
problems?
could I forget this? How could I forget this?
What's up, everybody? I'm Yanely Espinal, and welcome to Financially Inclined from Marketplace. We're sharing money lessons for living life your own way. In this episode, we're jumping into scholarships. It is super important to learn about college scholarships because it can really help you pay for the cost of college. We have someone on the show this week that I would call a scholarship whiz. His name is Youssef Hasweh, and he's a senior at the University of Chicago, where he received a full ride to attend. Now, he learned that a full ride doesn't necessarily mean full because it didn't include a lot of the costs and expenses that were popping up left and right and that were kind of unexpected for him. That's why he turned to college scholarships to help him bridge those gaps. To date, he has won dozens of scholarships.
I won the country's hardest scholarship and got a full ride to my dream school.
Now, on top of being a full-time student, Youssef creates content on TikTok and YouTube to help thousands of other students learn his top scholarship tips. So you know he's got some scholarship sauce for us. All right, let's get into it.
I was 10 when I found out that I couldn't go to college. I was 10 when I really understood that we were poor and that going to college wasn't going to happen unless I got a full ride. The entire time, I was going through the college process and all I could think about were scholarships. All I could think about was money. It wasn't a privilege for me to have a dream school because my dream school was a school that was going to give me a full ride. My dream school was a school that I could attend. That was my only dream. It really was touch and go for a little bit. I genuinely didn't know if I was going to go to school. That's why I grinded so hard in my scholarship process, just to make sure that I can have as true of a college experience as a low-income student can have.
Now, I think that a lot of students, again, they don't really see themselves as a type of student that's going to be able to get a big scholarship. And I think a lot of times people think scholarships are these big amounts of money. And so they might be like, okay, Youssef's probably the exception because there's no way that I'm going to get.
Oh my God. Yeah, I hate that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
I hate that.
Tell us, what would you say to a student who's this is not, I'm not even going to get one. He's an exception.
That is such a myth. I still hear that to this day. That's one of the scholarship myths that I'm trying to demystify. Students believe the scholarships available are going to be so competitive, but there are some already that are super local, the community-based scholarships. Some of them were the biggest ones that I got, and they go straight to your pocket. Most of the community-based ones, so that's even better. And then the national ones are some of the more competitive ones, but those have more winners, more award money. So as long as you put yourself out there.
I love this different types of scholarships thing that you're talking about because I mean, community-based scholarships, I don't know if that's something that I really ever even heard of. And I got a scholarship to college, but not a community-based one. So tell us, what are the different types of scholarships out there? And, how would you categorize them? Merit-based, academic, need-based? What are the different types?
One, there's going to be merit-based scholarships. So those are based off academics. Those can be given nationally or by organizations, but a lot of the time you're going to find merit-based scholarships from your schools. Number two is need-based scholarships. You'll often see this with schools. So a lot of your financial aid package, strictly based off finances, FAFSA. Your FAFSA determines your EFC, and that's your expected family contributions. And then number three is community and local-based scholarships. So law firms, community orgs, local base, neighborhood organizations will oftentimes give scholarships just for students in that neighborhood. So definitely tap into your high school counselors because they know all of them. Search up all the law firms in your area. They will almost 100% have a scholarship for you. And those are the scholarships that usually go straight into your bank account.
I love that. That's amazing.
But I need to explain full need schools for a second because students don't know that you can just essentially get what we think is a full ride by just applying to a full need school if you have full demonstrated need. Low income students like myself, poor kids, I assumed automatically I couldn't go to a school unless it was super cheap. So I was only thinking community based schools or city schools when a bunch of these liberal arts schools, a lot of elite schools can cover everything and you can attend an amazing institution. So search up full need universities in the US. There's 50 to 60 and they will cover everything except for your EFC. So your FAFSA determines your EFC, which is your expected family contribution. Let's say your family is expected to put up $1,000 for you to go to school. Let's say to attend for a year, it's $40,000 and your EFC, your family's expected to put up $1,000, they'll give you $39,000. So they'll give you everything except for your EFC. So just search up full need schools and then that's what we typically see as our traditional like need-based scholarship.
That is amazing. So let's go back. Let's pretend that you're in high school all over again and you're about to get
Oh,
ready to
let's not do that.
before all the scholarships. Before all the
Bad,
scholarships.
bad, bad.
Let's say you had to apply to college all over again, but you now know what you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you do in terms of like start like mapping out exactly how you would pay for everything, especially given that you're, applying for scholarships?
These are the keys. If you're a high school student out there, these are the keys to success. Whoa. I think the first thing I would do is, me, and like I need to be organized. I need to be so organized in this process. I'm making databases for everything. One, like I had a
Okay.
database for flying scholarships, so schools that could fly me out to visit them. I had a database for college apps.
Mm.
I didn't have a database for scholarships, like live. I would just send myself links and like mark the deadline for the scholarship on my calendar, and then that was the only notification I was getting. That worked,
Okay.
but there were so many that I was missing. And I think high schoolers forget this is literally your one chance, like your one shot. Like you're going through one application cycle. Like as a high school senior, that's when the most scholarships are open. So I think right now I
Yeah.
would personally get that database,
Good
put in
point.
all of the ones that you're eligible for. And I think the best way to find those scholarships is literally Google,
Okay.
maybe like your ethnicity. Like I would search up like Arab or like student of color scholarships, like sort of any financial needs, like low income, and then where you're at, like New York City. Like as
Yep.
soon as you put all of those, boom, the first thing that comes up, scholarship plus for me. Student of color, low income, New York City, scholarship plus. That was a $20,000 scholarship that goes directly to the student. And I won it just because I Googled that. So students just being as specific as possible about where you're coming from. You find those like
Yep.
more niche scholarships, put that in the database, and then you want to apply as early as possible. Like that's what I would do. The first thing I would do is like the minute it opens, I'm applying, because this is like one last like super insider tip. If you take anything from this, anything from this is a lot of these readers, like the Coca-Cola, for example, the Coca-Cola scholarship gets like 100,000 applicants. Why would I be picked out of 100,000? There's only 300 winners. Well, like they say who the winners are like not even 5 days or a week after it closes. There's no way Mr. Coca-Cola is reading 100,000 applicants in 5 days.
So should we be putting like 2 weeks before the deadline
Oh,
too?
you should be putting the opening date, the day that it opens, if
Yes.
they're transparent about that, for sure. Yeah. Something we also need to demystify is that you could be winning money way even after graduation. And we're
Ooh.
all sort of not even on the scholarship game anymore after high school. But like you can keep getting that bag. And right now,
Wow.
college sophomores, the Obama Voyager Scholarship is open for college sophomores, and it's a $10,000 like budget for a voyage. They fly you out to New York City twice. They give you
Wow.
$20,000, like just $20,000 flat, and then they give you a $20,000 Airbnb credit. It's like 2,000 for the next
Wow.
10 years after you graduate. Like, are you kidding me? Ultimate trips, unlimited trips. Like me and my friend group, we're out every year. But yeah, like there are programs like that are still so cool. Like that's so
Yeah.
dope, and it's open to college sophomores. So
I think that's really important too, because I think that there are a lot of misconceptions, like you mentioned, where a lot of students would think, oh, but I'm only going to get a scholarship if I was low income or if I was a
oh,
student of color or if
Hunto.
I was a first generation American,
Hunto,
but I'm
Hunto.
not
It's
low income.
open
I'm
to,
not first gen.
yeah, and you can still
Yeah.
win money. You can still win money. Like those are most of the scholarships that I tend to prioritize and I tend to amplify. But there's so many out there. You can literally, there was a scholarship I just saw the other day of any student who helps their parents who own a restaurant. Like if just that's your situation, like
Mm,
there's such niche and different ways
yeah.
to win scholarships. Yeah.
Got it. So y'all heard that. If you're not low income, that doesn't mean that you're not eligible for scholarships. That's not true. It just means you have to look for things that that resonate with you, that you identify with. Love that. I really like what you mentioned about how like you get a full ride and the word full is like not entirely
Oh
true
yeah.
because
Never a full
my
ride.
story, and that pretty much happened to me, where they
Mhm.
talk about how it's a full scholarship, but that didn't cover my textbooks, that didn't cover my Amtrak, that didn't cover,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
science lab fees and the art supplies. There were so many things that I felt like I had to come out of pocket for, and I didn't have the money out of pocket, and that's why I ended up in credit card debt.
Mhm.
So if you could kind of talk to students that are coming up behind you, like they're a couple years
Oh,
behind you and thinking
100.
about college now, what are the other costs that you would tell them? Like, listen, you got to consider these other things when it comes to college.
Oh my God, absolutely. Eating out. Oh my God, because the dining hall food is disgusting. I mean, you're gonna have like 3 a.m. like pizza nights or insomnia cookie nights with
Yeah.
your friends. And I'm telling you, like, I think that adds up the most. Like the DoorDashes, the Uber
Mm,
Eats, just feeding yourself, sustaining yourself is hard in
yeah.
college. I mean, like I had to buy a whole new winter coat. I'm from New York. Like it's cold in New York. Chicago, Chicago is a
Ooh.
different beast. And like even just like shampoo, like if like you're in
Mm,
a dorm or you have your own bathroom, so I had to clean it
yep.
myself. Like that, like those supplies.
So, were there any other challenges outside of just like figuring out how to spend the money? Like, did you get
Mm.
taxed on any of the scholarships? Did it
Oh
create any
my God, how
problems?
could I forget this? How could I forget this? Okay, so some scholarships, well, almost all of them. Some will be open to like paying the tax for you. So they'll just take that already off the top. A lot of times they'll send you like 1099s. However, student expenses are a tax write-off. I'm not promoting tax fraud. I'm just saying how it is. Like if you're using the full amount for student expenses, then you can write off a lot of what you're spending
Okay.
as long as you have receipts to back it up. I was like, I didn't even understand how much money I was making
Mm,
because I was like, oh, it's free money. So I wasn't like setting aside
yeah.
25% to ensure like at least I was paying whatever that cut was in full. So I was just shocked. Like I was
Mm.
just way shocked the first time. Now I've adjusted. Like now I set aside an amount.
Do you recommend like splitting up the scholarship as soon as you get it, immediately put away
Yeah,
a
one
fifth
fourth
or
of
a
it.
fourth,
Yeah,
one fourth,
absolutely.
25%?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Just to be safe, but also keep all of your receipts, keep everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can show what the money was used for and if it was for school. So where do you put that money then? Because if it's in your checking account, you're probably going to use it. So if you pull
Oh,
25% aside,
savings,
do
of
you
course. Savings. And
where do you
if
put it?
you're in a high yield savings account, like you taught
Tell them.
us, then the
Tell them.
money that you're setting aside will gain you even more money as you go through college. So it's just a win-win.
So open a high yield savings account and put 25% of your scholarship amount in there to account for the taxes that you will owe when the following year when you're taxed on the previous year's scholarship money.
That
Great
was
tip.
such a good question because I forgot how much anxiety like that brought me. Like with tax season, like my first time, I was a mess. I still haven't recovered.
Well, I'm sorry you had to deal with so much anxiety, but it sounds like you really come around to a place where you now have systems in place to help you organize this money,
For
manage
sure.
the money better,
For
just kind
sure.
of keep track of where it is and make sure your taxes are on point so you're not getting in trouble with the IRS.
Absolutely.
Listen, this is amazing. And thank you for coming on here to tell
No,
all
I
this
love
game because
talking to
the
you.
truth is, you learn the hard way by making mistakes. And if we don't create content like this, the next
No,
generation is going to
everybody's gonna
learn
keep
the hard way making mistakes
absolutely,
again.
absolutely.
So thank you.
I love the space you're providing.
One more important tip when it comes to scholarships is that if your college or university offers you a scholarship, you can actually negotiate that offer. It's as easy as calling up the financial aid office and asking them for more. Now, of course, you'll need to show proof of why you need more, but you'll never know unless you try. Now, I love everything that Youssef shared on this pod, from getting started early to staying organized, and especially to continuing to apply for scholarships even after you start your first year. But now we got to talk about that action. This week, using Youssef's tips, I want you to find a few different scholarships that you want to apply for. And I already know that you're going to create that clean and organized spreadsheet to keep track of all the details. All right, good luck getting those scholarship dollars.